Welcome to the Boardcast, where winging it is our number one MO. So I've been going out and trying to find new ways to market ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. We're on the Patreon hunt. We're trying to get down as many people into that Patreon as we can. Pretty proud of the fact that we've got one guy from the US so far.
Oh, let's go.
And three
What's
locals.
His name? Do we have a name?
His name is Ace. So it's pretty American. Loving that.
Double Ace. Let's go.
So I was looking at different ways I can like market ourselves in a very small, like local form and like try and get some sort of a like traction, you know what I mean? Like become like a, I don't know, when it becomes like a popular thing, right? So I thought we
want to be popular.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Cool
I've been trying for 33 years and it hasn't worked yet. So I'm like, we're on the trajectory, right?
Right.
So I stop on the truck. I would drive the truck every day and I stop and get lunch most days. And I thought, what if I use the Boardcast, like Google page to write reviews for locations around? And if I can make the reviews slightly amusing, then it like someone might notice and be like, oh, this guy gave a 5-star review to my restaurant. And then, oh, he's a local guy doing a podcast. Maybe we'll check it out. It's very unlikely to happen, but I thought I would have a go at it. Anyway, so yesterday I thought I would have my first crack at practice. I didn't use the Boardcast account first. I wanted to prepare, like attempt number one, right? With another one. So I go into this Korean place in like Westminster. No, where it is. Yes, it's somewhere there. And it's called Phil Bean. It was pretty cool. It's very, very Korean. I'm not a big Korean food eating guy, so I thought I was trying something new. And I had something called like bibimbap or something.
Oh, bibimbap.
Yeah.
Bibimbap
So
something.
Never had that before. The very, very nice lady comes over. She brings my stuff. So I got like vegetarian bibimbap and then some vegetarian dumplings. And she brings it all over, sets it out. There's lots of different like little plates of things to put into different things. And I start eating. And then I see her kind of come over and I think she's going to ask me, right, if I'm enjoying it. I'm like, oh, it's good. Then she's like, oh, she kind of smiles and walks away. And then about 5 minutes later, she comes over. She's like, have you had this before? And I was like, no, I haven't. And she's like, you've got to do like, and she gave me the instructions. I hadn't, the whole dish is based around having, I didn't mix it. I didn't use the sauce. I was worried the sauce was going to be way too hot. I didn't touch it at all. And I was like, all right, this is not going to be a number one review. It was very good, but I ate half the meal with zero flavor because I had no idea how to use the meal.
You know what? It's at least good customer service that she was looking
definitely.
After you. She wanted you to have a good experience.
5 stars to Phil Bean in Westminster. That were great.
Awesome.
We're gonna have the Boardcast. You know what? My initial reaction to the idea was like, that's not gonna work. And then the more I think about it, the more I'm like, it's crazy enough where it might work.
Well, it's like how in a world of so much media, how do you try and pull something viral out of it? So like for Burger Boy, for example, I reply to all of our reviews with the most unhinged replies you can possibly think of. I don't know if you get a report or alert when someone replies to your review, like a store, or if anybody reads them. But like if you were to go down our Burger Boy review sheet on Google and you'd be like, who the fuck is
well, I'm sold on this idea now.
Yeah,
the more I
it's called consistency though. The more you do it, like I said again, it's like Warhammer, right? The more dice you roll, the more hits you're gonna get.
Well, I am eating every single day, and like we're obviously like in the hospitality industry, we're attempting to like build our own restaurant at the moment. It's not going quite to plan, but we're getting there, I think. So it's like as I move further and further into the hospitality industry, I'm like, well, how do I like outreach into that? And you know, if you're a guy and you're like visiting a restaurant and you see you check your reviews first, right? So if you write really good reviews, like with lots of information and photos, you get put at the top always.
Right.
So I'm like, you know, if you're a guy locally and you're visiting different places and then you see a review and then like 2 weeks later you go to another place, see another review from the Boardcast, you're like, what is this Boardcast?
Gotcha.
They might think it's a smorgasbord, and no, it's all about nerd shit.
Every little bit adds up, right?
Yeah,
so I'm on board.
Cool.
I don't know if
it'll work, but I'll do it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely.
All right, lads. So I am starting at 0 for hobby, right? So I've been getting a friend of the podcast, Eli, to paint my minis for a while, but he's taking a bit of a hiatus from professional painting.
Yes.
And to be honest with you, it's one of those things that I've always wanted to get good at, but never practiced. And I know you guys are like super into your painting. So if I own 0 paints, 0 brushes, but I'm got the minis ready to go.
Right.
What's your like number one tip when starting painting?
I always like to like for beginners. Beginners is always for me is I would like for you to be to have confidence. Number one.
Okay, cool.
Okay, number one, have confidence. Like don't be discouraged. All right. So
So I shouldn't go to Instagram and look up like some of the best painters first, and then
I mean,
expect
it's
to do that
good to
straight
get
away.
like to get like inspiration, right? So, for me, because when I started painting, it was like maybe 20 years ago, and we don't have like how would I put it, assistance to the to paint. Like all our paints are like the current paints where we have like your base paint, your layer paints, and whatever.
Yeah.
And now you have like quick paints, which is like something like contrast paints or speed paints by like some other brands, right?
So that's it. Like I've been out of the painting scene so long that it's probably 10 years since I painted a mini. So I haven't touched any of those. I've never touched a contrast paint. I've never touched a speed paint.
So these paints, I would really recommend them for like beginners in this fact that it just boosts your confidence level.
Those speed paints, right?
Yeah, speed paints. Just to give you like a quick idea of painting itself. So instead of like going, I know a lot of people like, oh, you should do your foundation right and things like that. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of approach to painting, but I for me, my approach is get this up and understand through these speed paints and how it works and how the paints actually like pull into the joints and everything, and creating a darker a shade for the paints and stuff like that. So it gives you an idea like, oh, this is called shading, and this is the brighter part of the top part of the skin is brighter, and then the bottom part of the skin is darker, and stuff like that. It gives you a great idea on a first step into painting itself before you go into like all the specific skills of painting, like all the blending, like and all, etc.
So you reckon I crack out like some like generic goblins and try on those before like
Correct.
smashing into something I've been hoarding since
I mean,
I was like
yeah,
15 years old?
if you have like old models, I think most of us who if you play Warhammer long enough, I'm sure you have like a lot of gray plastic, right? So use those. Just base coat them in those like Wraithbone or like the white. And then just try contrast paints for a couple of models to get you to understand like how painting is now, and the idea of like all the how to paint and stuff like that. And then from there, move on to like proper like actual high pigment paint, and from there you understand like, oh, I know what to do in this step. Like,
So
I
are there
get a
any
better
like
idea.
video tutorials or like tutorial systems that you use yourself, or is it?
Oh,
mostly
most
through-
definitely. Definitely, like I go to YouTube and definitely find like how to use contrast paints and things. I think GW themselves would have like a bunch of videos to teach you how to use it and stuff like that. And I think a lot of other brands have come out with like similar style kind of paints.
Yeah.
Like contrast, like speed paints and stuff like that. Like I think like there's Potion or whatever. I can't remember.
I know Army Painter's got some pretty popular stuff at the moment.
Pretty similar, but they do show you how to use it, and the concept. I would say the concept is similar. It's not the same, but the concept is similar.
Yeah.
I think what William is also really touching on is like when you first start, you really want maximum effect for minimum amount of effort, right?
Correct.
There's a theory of like the 80-20% rule, where like 80% of the results come from 20% of the effort, right? And vice versa. So like, especially with the contrast paints, the express color paints, it's all about getting color on your minis quickly. So you get that nice rush of like, I'm doing something good. I'm like starting off somewhere and I'm seeing an effect. I'm getting my colors on my models. Because especially as a beginner painter, a lot of beginner painters get too stuck on the comparison, right? Like William says, like you'll look at other like fantastic painters on YouTube and fantastic painters on Instagram, and it will discourage you when you first start painting and you realize that your models are coming out looking pretty poor. But
That's like Connor. Connor, one of the fellas who's playing the old world at the moment. He brought his new minis, and like he's painted again. We used to play together when we were like teenagers. He bought a bunch of Bretonnian miniatures. He sprayed them all up white. And he started painting, and he came back to me like after the first couple of days. He's like, "They're terrible."
Yes.
And we had a little laugh about it, because he's like, he was really keen. He was really keen to get started, and he's like, he's got to get over that first hump of like, of course
Right.
you're terrible. You haven't done this thing in 10 years. Like you can't just pretend like you've got a skill out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'm sure like even though like if you start like an old world, right? Let's say you bought a box of the Tomb Kings, right? It's such a good set to start with. Contrast paints, that whole set. You just spray Wraith Bone, and then you just put the bone contrast on it, and then you dry brush white on it.
It's funny you actually say that because that is my plan.
Oh,
so
right.
I'm playing 3 different armies for Old World. I've got my Orcs and Goblins, my Empire Army, which is like a Tillian Italian list,
Right.
and then I've got some Tomb Kings, which I'm going to paint up. And I've chosen that directly because I already had a bunch of Tomb King stuff that I haven't
Right.
sold off yet, and they seem the easiest to approach.
Yes, that most definitely. Like I would always do in my like recommendation, right? So I'll just do like a batch paint. Like I wouldn't go into the details. I'll just do a general, very high level kind of painting. So just general contrast. You do your dry brushing. That's it. And then once you've done it, then you can go to like all the details, like the eyes. If you want to do like a red dot or just black, it's fine. Then all the weapons, stuff like that. All the smaller details. Don't burn out. Like I feel like painting is all about pacing yourself. Like it's a marathon, right? You don't want to like go hard and then you go burn out by the second squad or whatever. The 10. I'm like, 10 the best. And then the second 10 is like, oh, I have no mood to do this.
Aaron, one of the listeners who played Old World as well, said he sat the weekend out and he painted 2,500 points of Night Goblins for Old World, and he listened to our podcast, the first 4 episodes during as part of this marathon, and he did this 2,500 points in 2 days over the entire weekend. And
my goodness!
Yes, he came in and he was like, he was all baggy-eyed, like he'd done like a shift up at the mines, and I was like, "You all right?" He's like, "Oh, I've been painting for like 20 hours straight." I was like, I don't know why you do that to yourself. And it was all for him to join the league. I was like, man, there is no painting restrictions for the league.
He just shattered his poor heart. He was like, "Excuse me, I could have gotten 8 hours of sleep."
I was like, man, the part of the league is like you can paint one unit every 2 weeks as part of the painting comp if you want to. And he was like, okay, cool.
William really touched upon it as well. Where like when you first start, you should seek out guides. You should look out for someone that can help you out, especially that with any skill set. But if you have nothing to go off of, it can be daunting, and you really don't want to go in completely blind and not know what you're doing, because then you won't find yourself learning as effectively. So you should go out looking for guides, and especially something that's more reasonable. A lot of the guides on YouTube are going to be of pretty high level painters, and that might discourage a new painter, which is why William touched as well. Where as much as like GW have their problems, GW actually release really decent guides on their YouTube channels for painting, because they actually set really realistic expectations.
So is there a painting guide section on the website for that, or is it just you go to the painting?
Unfortunately, that's not great. You kind of just go to YouTube, you type in what you're painting, and then be like, how to paint.
So talking about like managing expectations, right? So GW, I think there's a time during I think like year 2005 and like maybe 2011, I don't know which actual year, like they were trying to downgrade the painting because people are getting discouraged from
like on the miniatures they show on the site.
They're shown on the box itself. It was too good because then like I think the new boxes, GW boxes, do not show the actual miniatures now. They just show like art, right?
Yeah, that's going back to like the original thing they used to
Correct.
Just have the art.
So back then it was like a terrain, like actual like flock terrain, and then you have like trees behind, and then you have like 5 Grey Knights there, like painted in the heavy metal style, and then they were so good, right? And people would try to emulate that. And then they couldn't because it's so good. So that discouraged a lot of people in painting because the paint level was so high back then. I think the paint level now, of course, is much higher than then. But during that particular time,
for the average consumer, I guess, talking about,
it's too high. So a lot of people got discouraged, and I think that they try to like bring it down a little bit so people could like could relate. So it's all about like relate. If you can relate to that. That paint job or that particular thing, or you can achieve that particular paint.
Yeah, it's got to be achievable. You're totally right. Like you look at that and you're like, I'm never going to be able to produce
this.
So
once you can relate or get close, you don't have to be like exact 1-to-1. If you're like 70% close, like, hey man, I could do this too.
Yeah.
So when you can like have that kind of confidence, right? That's why I'm saying like the confidence plays a big part. It just builds your confidence, and then it gives you the will to paint the next mini as well. You don't want to get that like discouraged, and then you don't want to paint anymore.
So I know you mentioned last week, Kang, that you've only been in the hobby for like AOS for the past couple of years, right? But when did you start painting minis?
Pretty much immediately. For me, going into the hobby, a big part of it was the paint aspect of it.
So is that just only a couple years ago as well?
Probably like 4 years. I've probably been like, painting for like 4 or 5 years
Awesome.
now.
Because like the vampire character that you've got in the display cabinet at the shop, that's pretty impressive. Like very, very impressive. So it's pretty impressive that you've managed to like get that skill in that short period of time, I'd say as well, right? Like I would say it's pretty professional.
Well, that was a mini that I painted up for competition. So I definitely like tested myself pretty hard on that. But the realistic thing is when you're painting is you can be painting for an army. You can be painting pretty casually.
Yeah.
So I think I briefly mentioned about how Games Workshop have some really good guides on painting minis. Anyone that's been painting minis for a decent amount of time, especially in like let's say the 2010s, if you've been looking up any Games Workshop guides, you probably know about Duncan Rhodes.
Yes.
So Duncan Rhodes was the main tutorial painter guy for Games Workshop for quite a long time, right? Probably a decade, I imagine.
Yeah.
So like his name is quite synonymous now. He departed from Games Workshop a while back, and I think 2 years ago he started his own YouTube channel, Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy, and that was amazing. I discovered his channel, and I use his channel quite regularly as just a reference point on like painting my own minis, because Duncan Rhodes comes from that traditional Games Workshop background where he'll teach you those fundamental Games Workshop style painting, which is base coating, layering, and washing. But he does it in a way where it's realistic. He's not going to go out and use fancy airbrush techniques or paint a mini for display. He'll paint a mini in really easy to follow steps, which I've always appreciated because he comes from a more tutorial style background. So when he started as a paint academy, I use it for everything. When I was painting my Blood Angels, I used his guide on painting Blood Angels. And it's really cool to see how his position has grown independently. And I believe he's also started his own paint range now as well.
That's what we're going to be stocking at the store, right?
Yeah, yeah. We're looking to get in his Two Thin Coats paint range, which is fun because Two Thin Coats is his motto, right? Always thin your paints.
It was funny because one of the other distributors that we've got, they said that they won't be stocking it for another, like it's coming in, it will be another 2 months. But the distributor for that we've bought it from, they've actually shipped it already. So it's on the way.
Okay, that's cool.
nice.
I'm excited because I'm excited. Anyone I encourage people to try new paints.
Yeah.
It's very easy to just use Citadel paints. And if you like that, go for it. But there's so many cool paints out there. So I'm excited to try out Two Thin Coats.
I think from a shop point of view, it's a good position for us to have because for 2 racks for a pretty reasonable price, we can get in the entire collection of the Duncan Rhodes paints all in one go. Every single color that he's got available is available to us, and we can put it up on the shelf, and that means we can provide that to the customer. Like we've got the Citadel paint range, like the Warhammer one, and we've been trying to fill that out for quite a while, but those are really hard to keep in stock. So even when we do massive orders, like the ones we got in yesterday, we only got about half the allocated paints.
Oh man, I saw, yeah.
Yeah, so we'd ordered. So it's hard because they're so popular, they go in and out of stock so quickly. It's hard to provide the customers like all the different paints and colors they need. And I'm assuming obviously from a painting point of view, once you start with a single paint or a color, you kind of want to see that through for that army as well. It's hard to bounce around from one to the other. So we've been looking at a different paint range, and there's a whole bunch of out there. There's the army paint and stuff, which is really popular. The Vallejo and the the Scale 75. We tried the Scale 75. Like we bought that one directly from Spain when that first came through, and that was a whole debacle. It came I remember that when we really want to try to get on the forefront of the Scale 75 deal. So I purchased it straight from Spain. They were like, cool. It was all get to go. It was like cost us a huge amount of money in import taxes because normally like a distributor in Australia would deal with us, right? They ship the paint out, and I'm watching the tracking on it, and it goes it leaves Spain and it comes out into the ocean, and it leaves. I think it left. I can't remember where it left, but it left one port, and then it goes down to the ocean. It sits out there for like 2 weeks, and then I'm watching the track, and then it's tracking backwards towards Spain. I was like, no, that's the wrong direction.
Oh,
yeah, and then it goes to the port of Malaga, and it's up. Then it's there, and so I call the guys, like the distribution company, and he's speaking like the English, but like it's a little broken English, and like obviously I don't speak Spanish, so we're that's not a language we're learning in Australia. Anyway, so we're trying to work out what's going on. And I'm like, yeah, it said it's gone back to like a port. And he's like, it's definitely not at our port. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's at like another port, like 3 hours away from where he is. Anyways, this whole debacle. Then it leaves Spain again, and it takes like 2 months to get here, but it goes via the US for whatever reason. I don't know if that's quicker from Spain to get to here, but when it arrives back in Australia, because it's going from Spain to the US to here, the American I don't know, the customs have taken everything out and then checked it because I don't know,
Oh
a
my
lot of
God.
drugs travel through Spain to like a back and
What?
forth to the
Yeah,
US.
a lot
right?
of small containers through a scan will probably be suspicious.
And so they've taken it out of the boxes, right? And were you here when they went for this?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So were you here when we opened
No,
them up?
no.
All right. So what happened? This was a complete contention, right? So we get all of our boxes delivered to another company where we're warehousing because they open up like most of the day. We can receive boxes, right? So they arrive there. Normally all our packages say like Northern Boards or to Danny or whatever it is, right? They arrive there with no names on it. So the staff there is like, there's multiple companies at this warehouse that I work with, and they're like, what is the stuff that's just arrived here? Anyway, it's like sticky tape shut, but there's like envelopes poking out of it and stuff all over the place. And they're like, I'm like, oh, it must be mine. It can only be mine. Like everyone else's shipments are super organized. If it's going to be unorganized, it's going to be for Northern Boards. It's just the way that it is. And so we open it up, and it's just packed full of letters, and it's all letters that have been shipped from Spain to the it's supposed to go from the US to Spain of US citizens living in Mexico or in Spain that are from debt collectors agencies, right? And it's all these letters that are supposed to go out to people, and they've just collected them all and they've used them as packaging. So I had thousands of people's personal information piled in letters for these people living.
I
like,
remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like it's all these debt collection agencies. And the first thing that happened, like before I did anything, I freaked out. I was like, what? What is happening?
What, Danny, have you spent on what?
Before I could even figure it out to get to the paint, there was hundreds and hundreds of letters of just like people's personal information, like requesting, and it's like some of them were like 4 pesos and shit. Like it was like real low amounts of money. But obviously the customers in the US were like, we'll just use this as packing.
Oh my
Our
god.
paint circumnavigated the world.
And for the scale of 75, like I picked it's me. I hadn't painted for 10 years. Maybe me picking the paints that we ordered wasn't the best idea, but I thought scale of 75 had such a high regard and is really sought after and really technical paint. We could provide something different from the Citadel being like the starter range, and then scale of 75 being like a premium range for experts, or like, we get a lot of competition painters, like guys take it really seriously. Thought it'd be cool. So I picked the fantasy games range, because there's a lot of fantasy games that go on here. Like even 40K is like kind of like a fantasy game. Of all the distributors, after that debacle of trying to get it here for like paying way too much money import taxes and it taking 3 months to get here, buying from Spain wasn't really like the way to go. And in the meantime, it took so long that a distributor in Australia started holding it here. So I was like, cool. So I was like, well, we can just go to them and buy it. The one range they don't hold of all the scale 75 ranges, the fantasy games one. I'm like, cool. So now we have a paint rack for the scale for 75 that we can't
Exclusive.
that we can't fill. So we just get from the basic scale 75 range. Like if the like fantasy games black sells out, we just get the basic black, and like, but they're obviously slightly different, and we're like,
Bit of a nightmare. So thankfully, Two Thin Coats to the rescue. Duncan Rose.
There's so
totally saved us.
many paint brands now. Like
I did note from our primary distributor, right? On their one, there's literally a note on there that says like their range will be coming X date, right? Next couple months. And then it says, we will do our best to keep these in stock moving forward. And I was like, oh,
That's a sign. We've got to brace ourselves.
That's a literal sign saying like, be prepared to get fucked.
Oh man, who knew paints were such a hot commodity?
Yeah,
man?
yeah. Well,
we had a massive thing where like Army Painter released speed paints as
Yeah.
like their big alternative to contrasts. Huge viral marketing just like got in, and like I looked at it and I was like, Army Painter stuff, this stuff is not bad, but like I didn't expect it to be crazy. And then everyone wanted speed paints, man. Everyone wanted an Army Painter speed paint set. It was crazy. So
I think even from the small amount of like painting and hobby media that I consume, it's getting mentioned a lot. So either they're great at marketing, or the paints really are that good, or they're paying YouTubers $5 under the table to make sure they mention it. Either way, like obviously someone's done a good job along the line to make sure that that's the thing that everybody's thinking about.
there's a massive race. Every company now is a race of like, they want to produce the best speed paint, like the best, like one option, you put this paint on your mini and it's going to give you the maximum amount of effect, right? Contrasts were massive and like really revolutionized Citadel's position in like the paint market. Like no one else had like a contrast equivalent. Army Painter came out, Vallejo came out, Scale 75 have come out. Like every company now is like, this is your express color. This is your speed
yeah,
paint.
definitely, but a pioneer will be GW. GW created a pioneer for like contrast.
I think they felt it as well, the competition, because
Yeah.
right after Army
And that-
Painter released speed paints, Citadel was like, oh, by the way, we've expanded our contrast paint range, a bunch of new paint colors, try it out.
Yeah. That's right.
Like my strategy when I was like when I first started the hobby like 10 years ago, I used to collect the white dwarfs, right? And I'd cut every single part white dwarf. There'd be like a painting, paint stage, and it was like a step by step on how to paint like shorts or a las gun or whatever it is. So I would cut those out. I put them into like a binder, and then I made my own index. And it's floating
That's
around
smart.
here somewhere. It's probably in the sea container outside. And I made the index, and I was like, all right, well, this can be used for like orca shorts or like hats or whatever. And I
that's so cool.
I made my own index. This is like the burgeoning age of the internet, right? So I was like, I needed some
scan
way
it.
to the unhinged notes of like Danny from like 10, 15
Scan it and
years
put it
ago.
into like a Google Drive. Or something.
William wants the cheat sheet.
Well, at the time, it was really handy, and I was like, I think the internet went through this stage where it's like, then the internet became more like the Games Workshop released the app, the painting app, which is like was pretty good. And I think at that time, like the internet replaced the need to have like a paper index that you had to carry around with you. But now I feel like we're past that, and the internet's so full of crud. I can never find the thing I want to find anymore. You know what I mean? Like you go to Google something, you get 25 hits of something else.
But the problem is with these old painting guides, right? You have old paints
Yes.
in it. So you have like things like Scotch Brown. It's like, what on earth is Scotch Brown?
So at the time, GW
Storm Bolter.
released like a cross-reference sheet, so I could cross-reference that sheet. But I'm also like more than half colorblind. Is the best way to say that. So like if it says that it's a match, I have to trust that it's a match, and I also have to trust that I haven't made a mistake somewhere along the line and got them mixed up. Because if I get them mixed up, I'm fucked.
Question. So this is not hobby related, but I want to ask. Like you say you were colorblind, right? Do you know like on social media, I always seen this like these glasses that you can wear that you can see colors. Is that true?
So
Is
they
it
are
real?
yeah they do supposedly work because it like because a color seeing colors is all about like the cones in your eyeballs, right? Those cones refract light in a different way, which allows you to see color, and then the glasses can just make up the difference for those. I think you do the good ones and because you can buy like ones for $200. I don't know if they're going to work. I don't want to say they don't work, but I can't imagine they're going to work. But you can get quite more expensive ones where you get your eye test done properly, and then they can tell you what kinds of color blindness you are, and then the glasses are built to make up the deficit for that, right? So like mine's red brown, which is the most common, and then I've also got like light colors, which includes fluoro colors. So it's like anything that's like a light color shade or like actual physical light can be hard to determine which is which. So if I'm really far away from a traffic light, I can't tell if it's like red, green, or orange. I have to get closer, and then because when I'm too far away, it's just a light. And as I get closer to the light, then it breaks up to the 3 different colors.
Right.
Whoa, I can't
So-
even in my head imagine what that looks like.
It's just
It's like hard. It's like impossible for me to perceive.
well. The funny thing is, right? From when I was a kid, when I did the test, I knew I was a bit colorblind.
Right.
And I thought it was only a little bit. My brother was like, because my granddad, it all goes down through the mother's genetics, right?
Yeah.
So my granddad was black and white colorblind. And his claim to fame was he was the first person in Balga in his street to have a color TV, but he was colorblind. So they all thought he was kind of a dick for like only watch his own TV shows and not let the kids watch their stuff when he couldn't even see what was going on anyway. Anyway, and he's fully colorblind. Then my younger brother, he's more colorblind than me, but I thought I was only mildly colorblind. And then I had to go and do a colorblind test because I couldn't remember the name of which one I was, right? So I had to do a colorblind test for a mining site that I was going to because they needed me to know whether I could be allowed to be going certain places for whatever reason. Because sometimes in the underground areas, there's like different lights to tell you where like emergencies and things. Anyway, so I get this colorblind test. I go there and she does the test, and I'm way more colorblind than I thought I was. I'm like, so the guy when I did it was a kid. Didn't do a very good job, and I'm more colorblind. And now I'm just pissed off because now I'm realize I'm missing out on more than what I thought it was. I thought I was like, I'm only missing a few colors. No, I'm fucking missing half the colors.
So the next question now is hobby related, right? So would it help if you can get these glasses, you wear these glasses, and then to help you paint?
But this is if I have like 20/20 vision. I've got fucking good vision, all right?
Right.
So if I then wear glasses that show the colors properly, and now my own world's opened up, and it's like the most amazing thing ever. Am I then just forced to wear glasses? I'm cool. I always wanted to wear glasses as a kid because I thought it made you look smarter. I remember being like 10 years old and be like, I wish I had glasses because I'd be hell smart looking. But it's like now that I don't have to do that like during work and sport and things, I'd have to wear glasses. That's convenient. But now if I know what I'm missing out on, then I'll have to wear the glasses all the time.
It's gonna be like
right?
it's gonna be like Wizard of Oz, Dorothy. She's gonna land.
What
the
if there's
color
a
opens
contact
up,
lens that could help you though? Is there? I
your
don't know.
world opens up a
No,
color,
I
you can
know.
never go back.
There's, people get freaked out by different parts of body parts. eyeballs freak me out. And I remember seeing this video of this like lady who'd like accidentally left like she got dementia or something, and she left contacts in, and they just get caught up in there, and it was horrific. It was like they were just left there, and I don't want to touch my eye, and it's just like
Contacts have come a long way, man. As someone that wears contacts pretty frequently,
Yeah. I wear contacts all the time too.
yeah.
So.
Well, you're more of a man than me, Will, because it freaks me the fuck out.
there's still the traditional type of contacts, which is like a plastic
Okay,
glass.
so the reason of not wearing these specialized glasses is because once you wear it, you don't want to go back. Is
Yeah,
that
I think
correct?
I imagine like you're opened up to a whole new world, and you experience it,
right.
and then you go to like you turn around and they take it away from you.
I got a story.
That's what I'm worried about.
For this as well. Well, quickly touching upon the contacts, but contacts now are like they use like especially if you use like the disposable ones, it's made of this thing called like a silicon hydrogel. It's crazy. It's like you put it in your eye, you barely even feel it's there. And like I've accidentally slept with it in my eye before, and you wake up the next morning and it's like fine. Your eyes are a little irritated, but you're totally fine.
No, fuck that.
Dry.
Absolutely not. That's a nightmare. What if it moves and it hits the like little stringy bits on the back?
It can't.
But Danny,
you just blink a couple times and it comes right back out.
okay, but Danny, what if you really got hooked on painting, and then now you want to see color?
I would rather like the laser. Can they laser the color back into my eye?
That's
I don't know. That's the thing. I'm asking if there is LASIK for color blindness, though.
No,
we'll Google it.
That's
after,
got to be harder, right?
We'll Google it after the show, and then we'll come back next week and then see if we
I
can
think
find research
LASIK
on it.
removes the damage from the outside.
No,
of the eye.
so I
Right?
looked into this quite extensively.
All right,
the
let's
reason
go.
why LASIK and laser surgery probably can't fix like the cones and rods is because that's built so integrally into your eyes, right? What LASIK and all those laser eye surgeries do is actually they just reform your eye.
Oh,
So the laser goes in
It's
and
like
like
terraforming.
yeah. It reforms like the part of your eye that
or
focuses
cyberpunk
whatever.
your eye.
So it gets pretty crazy. The LASIK scares me. I've thought about it, and then there's parts of it where it's like, you're awake the entire time,
Yeah, it's only 15 minutes though.
but you're awake and you're staring into the laser.
Nah,
You can't even
that's
see it.
terrible.
That's like a movie scene.
so you
bro.
can because they're doing your eyes. Are you looking at the? Are you looking at
Apparently,
the laser?
Yeah,
apparently
you
they
are.
like apparently
Hell
they just,
no.
apparently they just like numb you up a little bit, and you just stare into the laser and just go.
I thought it was bad the other day when Connor had 2 teeth ripped out and he was awake. And you don't get a laser in your eye? Absolutely not.
Dude, I played enough video games to know.
For 10
to
grand,
see it.
15 minutes, let's go.
10 grand?
Yeah, 10
Oh
grand.
man,
I think.
okay, can I get one eye at a time?
Yeah. It's like I think
can
like
I do-
5 an eye.
Yeah,
Can I
if you
do
go to Malaysia
5 grand or
with
do
that forest,
one eye?
like-
Yeah.
But the story with like the
My wife
first
did
time,
it. My wife did LASIK on her eye.
The what?
How is she now?
Yeah, she did it like 10 years ago. 10 years ago.
How long is it supposed to last?
It still works.
Oh, you just keep
Does
going.
it change
Yeah.
your close range vision? I've heard it.
No,
affects
it's
up
fine.
close. Huh. Anyway, the first time I wore glasses, right? When I was in high school, I knew that I probably needed glasses, right? There was like I had pretty good vision as a kid, but it definitely started deteriorating when I like hit puberty. I think it was a lot of me like being in front of a computer,
Same.
reading a book, and like not really like going out and staring out at the distance because eyes are a muscle, right? Especially when you're developing your eyes, you need to train your eyes to look out more. Maybe when you were younger, Danny, I don't know if you were playing out sports more, right? So you were
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Your eyes were probably trained a little bit better to look at the distance. When I was younger, I was doing a lot of like reading books and magazines, right? PC Power Play in my room. So
I grew up in a real dodgy area, so I was constantly looking to
you're
run away from
constantly
things.
unawareness. You're like an owl, bro. You're stalking, staying aware. So I was So I was when I was young and I was studying a lot. I was so my eyes started to deteriorate from like being close range so much, right? So I was in high school and being like, I probably should need glasses because I remember being like, I can't really see super well, but your eyes are a muscle and you can train past it, right? When I
Can you really? Is that true?
not necessarily, okay, I'll explain.
Oh,
it
that's
right.
what you thought. Sorry. Okay.
Well, yes, in a sense. Okay, so I'll explain why what
Sorry.
matters. So when I was 17 and I got my license for the first time, right, I did all my drivers, my learners, and I passed my test, all that stuff without needing glasses, right? And I was like, you know what, that's just fine. And then when I was like a little bit older and I like, okay, fuck it. I'm going into university. I should get glasses because it's time to get like, if I'm sitting in the back of a lecture hall and I can't read the board, that's a problem, guys. That's a
You're just
problem.
phoning it in hard.
Yeah. So I got glasses and my optometrist was like, how the fuck have you been doing this the entire time? He's like, you need glasses, bro. Like, how did you pass your driver's license? And I was like, I don't know. But it was like, because he was like, well, what happened was that like your eyes needed, like you theoretically, like you should get glasses. You need glasses.
10 years ago.
Yeah, when I was like 10 years ago. It's just that you're like, you've gotten so used to not having glasses, your eyes are just constantly like on focus, just constantly just like lasered in. Just
Were you getting like headaches and stuff?
no, I never. I was just like,
And then now Kang is like seen the whole new world. He
Yeah,
can't
so
go
I put
back.
glasses on for the first time, and I was like, oh.
See, that's me. I don't want to do that with the colors, man.
If you ask anyone that has glasses, their first experience of putting glasses on, they'll just be
Yeah.
like, oh, I can see the leaves and the blades of grass. Everything's a little bit more crisp. It's like going from it's like when YouTube went from 360p and they're finally like, hey
4K.
guys, they're like, you want to check out HD? So yeah, now I'm like, now that I wear my glasses more regularly, it's like, I don't know how I did it when I was a kid. I was just like, that was my life, bro.
Kane could have been to Einstein if he just had glasses earlier.
Probably.
Well,
Probably.
I've used probably like $2,000 worth of my insurance to buy my child glasses that he's worn for 2.5 days at a time, and then totally never worn them ever again. So
Does he need glasses?
yeah, he does. Little blind fuck.
What happened?
He just needs glasses. He can't see shit.
So there's definitely like a genetic thing, right, with needing glasses or not, and there's also like part of it which isn't, because no one in my family wears glasses. It's just me.
Oh.
So for me, it's definitely not genetics. It's definitely that I was a
Your
little.
dad's like fucking blind pussy.
Yeah. My parents always like when I finally got glasses, they was like, "What? What happened?"
They both have great vision. They're like, I didn't waste money on glasses.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So
Oh man, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah. So I was thinking, that's why that was my question though. Back to the whole color thing again. So that I was thinking like, hey, is this color glasses fake? Like the only person I could ask is you, because that's the only person I know is colorblind.
I have looked in, and they're actually making like more and more advancements as they go. But there's some that I know there's some guys who've spent quite about a bit of money on getting the proper testing done. I think if you get the testing done to then match the cone like difference.
What if you only use the glasses for painting and don't see the world?
That's so. If it becomes affordable, I absolutely would do it for painting, because
Yeah.
I'd like to. I really, really used to enjoy painting a lot, and I gave up on this. I didn't so much as give up on it as much as I really haven't had time. It sounds silly, but in the last like 10 years, I've been nonstop, and it was I hoarded a bunch of like awesome minis that I love. Like we were talking about the holy grails of like hobbies that we've got. I'm actually pretty lucky that I've got most of mine now. Like I don't have like massive goals. So it's like, so a lot of mine are pretty relatively achievable, but it's like, I've hoarded a bunch of minis that I'd love to paint one day. And I always joke about saying, I hoard onto the minis because one day I'll get good at painting and then I'll paint that thing. But then I also don't practice that skill at all. And then I'm surprised when 10 years later, I'm like still not good at painting. It's like, wow, I didn't do any practice.
It's a thing that new painters do, which is they always just like hold on to their minis and they're like, I'll get better and I will paint this mini one day.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it never happens.
That's me.
If you like the model, just paint it, bro. Just paint it. Don't worry about like, I'm going to get better at painting it. Just paint it.
Yeah,
Part of the learning experience
right.
is learning from like experience. It's like, you just need to do it and you'll learn from your mistakes. Painting is this massive journey. You can't expect it to be an easy journey, and little steps go a long way, right? Once again, you got to just take the effort.
Yeah.
You know what will work? You know those big magnifying glass that you use for painting? What if you convert that into like a colorblind thing? Just that, right?
What's the guy with like all the arms and the monocle and stuff that gets out of him? Mr. Gadget, like Mr.
Yeah.
Gadget, but for painting, it's like.
I'm going to say, fuck it, dude. Realistic colors are boring anyway, dude. Just paint in all your wacky colors you want to paint. Just
that's-
have fun with it.
When I was layer like painting, I often would just miss if there's 5 layers, I'd miss each one in between because if the layers and the shades were too close to each other, I literally couldn't see what was going on. But if I go, if it's base and then layer, if I miss every second layer, it's a bit more stark difference from one shade to the next.
Yeah.
So I can actually see that. And it definitely gives it more of like a fantasy, like overt color feel. And I do like that. So we've talked about it before. It's like, I love that Santa Cruz style and like all these different art schemes that a lot of people would say is very gaudy and out there. But I'm like, well, I can see it. So it's like, I'm going to divert towards those kind of things,
Yeah, makes sense. Like Harlequins.
True. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
you can play Harlequins
That's
well,
like
yeah.
when I played 40K, like 10, 15 years ago, the Harlequins were my thing as well. It's what I had.
Pretty much.
That's also why I can't dress myself whatsoever.
Right, I gotta do some research on this colorblind glass thing since you say it's somewhat true. So,
I'll be expecting a Christmas present from you, Will.
oh my god,
Are you colorblind, William?
no, I'm not colorblind. I can paint.
Well, a lot
try
of
to.
males are somewhat colorblind to it.
Oh really? How do you test?
You can go to like an eye place, they'll do it for free for you. Or there's
okay.
like things online, but I don't know how good the ones online are because the computer can only show you certain scales of color as well, right?
Right. What about 4K?
You guys So you guys, the way our eyes work, right? We perceive light within a certain spectrum, right? There are creatures out there that see far beyond what we can perceive, right? Because they see in a larger spectrum.
Yeah.
Like it's physically impossible for us to imagine a new color, right? But there's animals out there that just see all sorts of things. You never know.
I can't remember the number, but do you know how many cones that our eyes have? Is it like 8 or something?
I don't know.
I got no idea. I'm going to randomly say 69 because it's a good number.
There's a bird that has 36 times more cones than we have. So they just see the world in like a kaleidoscope at all times. You can remember those kaleidoscopes you had as kids?
Can you imagine
where
that?
You twist it and all the colors like refract? The bird's just seeing that at all times. He's high on like something and he's just flying through the air with just colors flying at him.
Can you imagine that bird is the golden demon judge? Like, I see some mistakes here, bro. I see 6 times more colors than you do.
But I do maintain like some of the best painters out there will paint in more expressive colors, and you can get creative and go nuts with it. Whatever like is comfortable for you. I think a big part of painting as well is finding your style and sticking to it. If it works for you, stick to it, right?
Well, I don't know how true it is now for the internet because it's a different world. But I remember reading an article back in the day on White Dwarf where the guys would paint minis for the boxes and White Dwarf in a different fashion as the ones they would paint that are going to go on display at like Warhammer World, because some things were picked up by cameras better and could be printed on the like physical paper, and they would look better that way, but not look as good as the ones in person. Different colors would like come out different in the like pictures and stuff like that.
That was correct then. Probably correct then.
But not as
now,
much now.
now it's like you have so many tools, right? You got Photoshop, you got everything.
Yeah, true.
If you take a photo raw, like you can just do whatever editing you want to it.
Correct.
Yeah. So pretty much, I think then probably yes. I would say then yes. Now probably no.
On the box art for example Warhammer, it's called the heavy metal paint style, and it's a very very specific paint style.
AV metal, like
Heavy
without
metal.
a H.
Yeah, minus the H. It's
Do you think heavy was
apostrophe-
trademarked before then or something? They had to go with drop the H.
It would be cool, man. Back in the day, everything was cooler if you sloganed it. So heavy metal's paint style is very very particularly well for advertisement or for like the box art because it's incredibly crisp, incredibly clean, edge highlighted, so it looks good for advertisement. Completely unrealistic to paint in person.
You mean like you say that because it's time wise or skill wise?
Absolutely too time intensive and too skill intensive.
You reckon like GW's just got like a group of guys just like who
Absolutely.
just
Yeah.
paint?
They have a huge
And they're just
team.
painting 24 hours a day?
AV metal
Not
team.
24 hours.
Yeah, they have a huge team of people just
It's called
constantly
AV
painting.
metal
What's
team.
huge mean? Like to me, huge would be like 5 guys.
No, I
Is
think
it like a
20,
lot?
10, 20. Yeah.
I think it's like 10. I think
Yeah.
it's like 20 to 30 people at all
Yeah,
times.
because they have to
Just-
paint like stuff for the future as well.
True.
So probably they're working on something that's next year, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, true.
This paint team is essentially.
I guess you've got
part
those
of good-
massive like dioramas and stuff at Warhammer World as
Absolutely.
well.
That
right?
one is under Warhammer World team. There's 2 teams. AV metal team only paints like the releases stuff, like all the ones in your box. All the ones that you see in Warhammer community, like the ones that release, like all the future stuff, those are the ones that the AV metal team paints. The one that is on display in Warhammer World, it's done by the Warhammer World team. It's another painting team that does all the terrains, what they plan out, like the narrative part of it, like everything. Those are the Warhammer team, like they convert stuff, and those are pretty much the Warhammer World exhibition team.
So right now, somewhere in England, there's like 20 guys in a room getting mad because they're chipping the shit out of their metal minis they're trying to hold together.
Well, Games Workshop is a billion-dollar company, right?
Yeah, true,
They're a
yeah.
massive company,
Yeah.
and you can think about how massive their advertisement budget is, and you have to understand that for a miniature company, a massive part of your advertisement is how the mini looks on the box. So they need it to look good, right? So imagine a considerable budget goes into making those minis painted up nice. So because anytime it's not painted up nice, we've seen when like a mini looks bad on the box photo, people will just not buy it.
Really? Have you got like an example for that? Or
Catachan. The Catachan.
Oh,
the
Catachan.
notorious, for anyone that doesn't know, so for the Astra Militarum, there's a unit called the Catachan, which are like jungle fighters,
I
right?
love that. Those are my first minis, though.
Granted,
Catachan.
they're an older model, so there's already like a disadvantage on detail, but the box art paint job didn't do a great job.
It's Rambos.
Yeah.
A group of Rambos.
And because of that, people have a incredibly negative perception on that model line, which if you actually see it in person, it's nowhere near as bad. It's actually okay looking.
do you think
not
the paint
bad.
job was like subbed out to like the trainee or something?
No idea.
No,
It's an
I
older
think
model line.
It's
so-
old model, and when we paint Garajan Dan, you use like skin tones, and then you use this ink called the chestnut ink. Chestnut ink was glossy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Was
it
just
gave.
like the only ink that was like available at the
I think
time or
yeah,
something?
there was the only ink which is the
before
first.
washes.
Oh, that's way before wash. There's no shade. There's no such thing as shade. So chestnut ink. You
This is
when you
Williams
had ink-
ages coming out.
It's like the same thing they used to put on like wood furniture.
Yeah, so we when you had like we don't even have base layer. We just have paints.
Yeah.
Paints and inks and metallics. That's all you get. So back then, Garachan we used ink. So this ink, chestnut ink, was used to do shading, and the ink was so weird. It's like a really bad. What's that ink that we use?
Agrax Earth.
Yeah, Agrax. So Agrax is really good, right? So this one's like a darker, more intense, and more. It's like gloss ink. So when you put it on, it just
All your Catachans look like they're
This
like
is
Arnold
really
Schwarzenegger
weird.
oiled up for like the
pretty much. So
Olympia.
yeah. So
Back then,
then
everything was just shiny.
and back then you can actually like I love the
You
models.
see
where-
pictures of like old game stores, everyone was just slightly greasy.
Oh yeah,
So are your minis.
that's a demographic, man.
It's pretty cool. I like that. Yeah. So that Garachan was my first. I bought the first Garachan Battle Force. It's like a square box. It's not like a rectangle box. It's square. So you get, I think, like a sentinel, like an open cap sentinel.
Yeah.
That you get if you use the other Astra Militarum, right? So if you go to, it's not Astra Militarum. We used to call it Cadians. Okay, Cadians is the right word. Cadians. So Cadians get the full cap, like a closed sentinel, and then the Garachan gets like the open version. Like you get like a camo version.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So cool.
So we got this weekend's a big one for us. We have the new Magic set, Outlaws of Thunder Junction, which is exciting. William can't go without making one AC/DC reference. Outlaws of Thunder Junction is exciting. Magic's never had like a cowboy set, and I know from talking to people, especially on the internet, for a long time people really wanted like a Western themed set. So we're finally reaching like this Western themed set. It seems like it's pretty strongly themed. We're going into quite excited.
Bro, they've stacked it. Like they've stacked it. I know they were going to do like an aftermath. So in the previous set, which one had the aftermath set attached to it?
March of the Machines.
March of the Machines,
The Master
yeah.
Machines had that, and then they did the aftermath set, which in the end was actually pretty cool. Like a lot of these cards jumped in price quite a bit, but people were like freaked out at the time, saying it wasn't worth it. So this set was supposed to have the same thing, like an aftermath set, and that's why there's like 3 different versions of Mythics floating around in the set with different set symbols. So they've just absolutely stacked it all in.
There's a lot of different art. Yeah.
Especially compared to Karlov, which we got
We
stuck
have
with a crap
the
load
Neo Broco, the Oko riding a
Oko is
elk.
cowboy, and he
instead
still
of
doesn't have a shirt.
instead of a car, no, instead of a horse, he's riding on an elk. So it's an elko.
Well, there's like cactus people and like all sorts of cool shit. It's pretty cool, but like, and some of the artifacts and stuff in the set are stacked. It's
Art
like,
and theme
it'll
is
do
very
well.
strong. I cracked a pack early just to have a look at it because there's a store we're allowed to open stuff for the store. The wanted poster cards and a lot of the cool like showcase arts looks really good. It looks like something you would get out of a secret lair, but you're getting it in a regular Magic
Oh, that's
set.
nice. That's nice. I like Secret Lair. So
Have you received your stuff yet, Will?
I should be receiving it tomorrow, maybe. Yeah.
Because the warehouse manager messaged me this morning, said there's 11 boxes. I was like, oh, thank God, it's actually arrived in time.
Oh, that's nice.
It's always nice when
Is
we
the
actually get our
pre-release
stuff.
this week itself?
Yeah.
Pre-release is this week.
we got-
Friday on the 12th. Is it 12?
Yeah, we got Magic pre-release on Friday and then Saturday. And then we've got Fab ProQuest on Sunday.
Oh, nice.
Flesh and
Pro
Blood's
Quest.
got its big
I
like.
saw the gold foil. Oh, I almost take it.
Well, we got a like pretty big weekend. Like Friday, we'll have pre-release here, which we're doing in a collab with Burger Boy, our burger
nice.
restaurant. So we're going to be doing down there because we've still got One Piece on a Friday night, which is smashing at the moment. You know, it's good to see that. And then, you know, throughout the rest of the weekend, we've got tournaments every single day. So by the end of it, we're going to be pretty knackered. I was going to try and do some
Back to back.
yeah, some more work in our little zone here and what do you call it, and at the restaurant. But I realize now that I'm probably just have to get through this weekend because it's my Sunday on this weekend, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah. So we do ProQuest here, which is good. It's good that I probably did because I did covered Monday as well, which is nice because I could re-remember everybody's names and get used to the Fab thing again. So that'd be good, a little practice for the weekend.
So ProQuest is like a store champs or something like that?
Yeah, it's their it's Flesh and Blood's beginning of this is how you start going into their pro scene. So you
right.
start with ProQuest, which is your store events, and then from there you go into like your regionals, and from there you go
Nice.
into your nationals.
So you if you win this, you qualify to go to the nationals?
I believe so, yes.
Right.
You qualify for the regionals? No, this is
I'm not sure.
this is the regionals, and you score points, and then if you score enough points, you can reach the nationals.
Right,
correct?
right.
So after all this, people will try to compete for the Australian, which is exciting, right? Like any player going into a card game,
And it's pretty cool that they're giving a cold foil, like a gold cold foil.
Yeah, these are like high ticket items. They're quite like the price structure is quite good.
That's good. That's good. I like it. I like card pricing instead of like cash, because like you get to like value the card at your own value and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then it's like it's not like, oh, I'm gonna give like $100 prize money. It's like, oh, but it's a card, like it could be like $500 or $1,000, kind of thing.
I've played Fab a bit when it first came out, and just to like try it, so I get a bit of an idea what's going on like in the store, right? I'm starting to play a lot, so I can't speak from an expert point of view, but it feels like Fab and One Piece as well are both doing really great jobs at providing promos and price support and support to the stores that really means something. Because it's like the Fab stuff, it's like it really seems like the play mats and the promos and the stuff that's getting given out, the players actually want, which makes a massive difference. You know what I mean? And like Magic is great because they provide a lot of promos, but there can be a bit hit and miss in whether those are valuable or not valuable. But they do provide a lot of like promo packs and foils and things for that. So it's like you can't complain about it. But the ones for Fab definitely seem to be more, people definitely want them a bit more, which means that that returning customers is more.
Talking about promos and Magic, right? Well, Danny just dropped his phone.
I managed to drop my phone, make a noise, but drop it on an empty can, so it made double the noise.
Right. So talking about Magic the Gathering and about the amount of promos going out, let's talk about the what's happening to the Secret Lair scene. Secret Lair.
It's getting harder to get your Secret Lairs, dude.
It's getting harder to get Secret Lair, which is good. It goes back to the original Secret Lair where it was only open for one day. Yeah. It's like so secret, right?
It's more
so exclusive.
Yeah,
but before this, Secret Lair was like, I think, print on demand.
Yes.
So if you order like 1,000, you get 1,000. So now Secret Lair is like, no. It's like while stock lasts. So everything was, I think, up on the 1 a.m. last night.
Yeah,
right?
I waited last night so I could pick up my Fallout Secret Lair. I got on there and bam, and I was in
and then I was sold out.
Bought my cards.
Less than 24 hours, sold out.
Oh, because I got an email at some point saying like stocks are low, which is interesting because they haven't obviously done that before. But they're sold out now, is it?
I
think most of it sold out.
That I just happened to be on the computer and I like scrolled past and I was like, oh,
I missed out. I missed out on quite a few things.
Happened to be sitting on the Secret Lair website at 1 o'clock at night.
I missed out on the Arcane Signet set on foils, but I bought the non-foils. But I missed out on the bundles. All the bundles I missed out, so I got to buy a singular like set. So I bought it.
So business-wise, is that going to make a big difference to what you're trying to achieve?
I mean, I just get 20% like extra margin.
True.
So it's great, but I'm losing 20%.
20% is not a lot.
I mean, if I'm buying like
in some of the things we sell here, that's all the margin.
I mean, like 20% of like a couple of thousand US, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's tricky because it does mean it's harder for a lot, like some people to get it. But like it's like you got to think about like, do the pros outweigh the cons? Like now the Secret Lair cards are gonna have a bit more value behind them, so people that did get their hands on it have a little more feeling of like, oh, I did something cool, I got something cool. But also, it used to be you would order from Secret Lair and they would print it, right? So you have to wait like 3+ months for your cards to arrive.
Right.
Yeah.
But I ordered
then they switch it to like they print some, and then they print on demand some. So you get like whoever ordered first will get their stock quickly.
Yeah.
I guess it has changed quite a lot. So maybe they're still trying to find their feet on what works fiscally for them, and then like keeps people happy.
Yeah. So like I bought my Fallout Secret Lair last night, and it says it's going to ship like next week.
Yeah. They already print everything now.
Did you get the set that might have the Mana Vault?
Yeah, the Fallout ones.
Okay,
but I'm hoping it's not Giga Rare. But it's probably going.
Well, there's like a bit of like controversy around that because the whole point of the Secret Lair was you knew what you're buying every single time. You spend X amount of money, you get what you ordered, and there's no surprise here or there. With
they've always been surprised. Like the secret cards.
Yeah, but it's the same. Everybody gets it though, right?
No, not really. Sometimes it's a random. Some you get random.
But it was more of like a fun bonus. But now it's like we know what is going to be in the Secret Rare slot.
Not really. Depending on the set itself. Correct. Let's say like for like the Fallout set, you get 1 of 3, I think.
Correct.
And then certain sets, they don't have a secret card, but they have a general secret card. So you can get things like
the Street Fighter one, the secret card was the Hadouken, the lightning bolt.
Oh yeah, but that's fixed.
Okay.
It's everybody who's gonna get a
You're
field
talking
card,
about like
right?
the persistent petitioners and stuff
Correct.
like that.
So you can get like a random chase card as well.
Because I have a persistent petitioner mill deck, and I wanted to get
that's
those.
so expensive, bro.
And then I looked at the like Card Kingdom price, and I was like, well, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Some of them are like a grand, $1,200, $1,300. I was like, oh.
So
I was willing to spend 20.
There's your 10 grand deck.
the great part is there's one set where they release baseball art cards, which all the planeswalkers, right? So the chase card was a signed version of the baseball cards.
Oh, by the artist?
Yeah, no, yeah, by the artist. So they signed it.
Wait, guess what?
That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Those cards also are gonna go up in price because the artist was Faye Dalton, where she's I really liked her art. Faye Dalton's art was really, really cool. It was that kind of like old school,
Plagiarism.
like 1950s postery with like kind of like gentlemen and dames. And she got caught huge for plagiarism recently.
Really?
Yeah.
So Wizards of the Coast were
Couple
like,
of
we're
art
officially
too.
cutting all work with her.
Wow.
So as someone that really liked her art, and then like now like there's going to be no more art of hers on Magic cards, it's like damn.
She did Ajani. Ajani. She. I think I don't know. The artist just
Copied
took
it from,
like a lion, just a lion, like 1-to-1.
Aslan. From,
Really?
like,
So it's like
with
quite
Boardcast.
blatant plagiarism then.
And people compare like I think over superimposed.
Overlaid it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Once the mob gets on it, people went in deep. Like detectives came out and were like, that hand is not hers. She took this hand from this propaganda poster.
Like,
And how does someone find that out?
Well, I included myself in this, but we're like a massive community of like millions of nerds. Like you can't propagate something onto the internet and not expect to get found out straight away. It's like living in a small town and then stealing from your own local like shop.
Yeah.
Like everybody's going to know you did it. It's like, why would you release something onto the internet to millions of people who are great at using the internet and then expect not to get caught out straight away? It's fucking crazy.
I assume it's people get too comfortable with it and they just get used to it.
Yeah.
And then eventually when they finally get caught, they're like, oh no, how could I see this happen?
Yeah, but the thing is, like the art that was caught, like it was 1-to-1. Like you could see
yeah,
it.
it was
It was just
blatant.
mirrored.
Once you see it, it's very blatant.
Yeah.
So I wonder if is there like criminal charges that go towards that, or they
I think you just
lose
cut it off.
contracts, I guess?
You lose your contract and you just
Well,
have
your
a bad-
livelihood goes down pretty hard, right? As
Yeah.
an artist.
You just gone. Like you have just stigma on you now.
Do you think, though, as an artist as well, it's easy to pop up under a different name and do the same thing?
Nah,
or do you think-
she had a face everywhere as well. Like she was like known.
Why would you do it?
Well, most artists, you would have yourself exposed. Like you would have a public portfolio.
Yeah, just like me doing restaurant reviews.
Well, I'm hoping the mana vault from that secret layer isn't going to be on the same rarity as one of those persistent.
It's gonna be.
petitioners.
Yeah.
If
Those
mana,
are streaming.
if mana vault is like can
Man.
you imagine every box you buy is a mana vault?
No, it's not.
Mana
that
vault is
shit.
gonna be like
I'm hoping it's
$5.
more common. I'm hoping it's slightly because those
many
persistent
did you buy?
petitioners were like 1 in 1,000 boxes.
No, I got like 2.
What? How many? Well, one in, for example.
Maybe I got 30 boxes or something. Yeah.
That's kind of your pain.
I already got a
many-
I
baseball
bought one
card
of
too.
each, so theoretically, I have one. I have 3.
You have
chances.
0 chance, bro.
Man, what if I get? It's a lottery. I could, but it's a massive. It was a massive like, goddamn it, Wizard of the Coast for me because I'm collecting the entire set, so I'm getting one card of everything for that.
Oh my
If you
goodness.
don't get it in your set, will you go buy it?
I will reach
Because it'll be
that.
the one and only card you
You
don't.
just go to
I will reach
eternalmagic.cc.
Well, I've already told William. I've already told William that if he pulls it, keep one aside for me just in case. How much do you think it is? A mana vault right now,
I don't
what,
know.
$100?
Yeah, but that one's like full art, bro.
It's gonna be like what? It's gonna be like $700.
$400. I have the signed Jace. I got the Jace sign.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
You should
I-
hike it up in price.
It's
gonna
like
port-
$700. Yeah.
You're going to port that
Whoa.
up to the US, or you're going to try and
Yeah,
sell it
yeah,
in
just
Europe?
sell in US. I usually sell all my cereal, like all these chase cards in the US market. It's just easier and it's cheaper
Yeah.
for them too.
Bigger community there. Someone's going to want it.
Yeah, and it's to them it's like much cheaper too. Like if I want to sell at 700, probably they're gonna pay 450 for it. That's it. Yeah.
You know, like when they do a serial number, there's like out of 500, right? Do you reckon there's anyone out there that has every single one of?
Oh, someone is collecting like some trashy card, serial trashy cards. They collected like 50 of them already. I'm like,
That's pretty cool.
He put out a buy list like, if you want to sell me this card at $70, I'll buy it. And then like people start selling him.
Yeah, it's like
and then
$1.
he's like has a collection of like 70, like 50.
Do you think though, as he gets, let's say it's out of 500, do you think when he gets to like the 300, 400, they start going up in price because people know that he wants it? They're like, fuck this guy. He's gonna.
No,
he wants to finish the
that's
collection.
thing,
He's
right?
close
So
now.
he's just gonna put out a buy list. That's the thing. Like if he gets it, he gets it. If he doesn't get it, it's fine. Like he doesn't care. And it's a trashy card too. So it's not gonna you're gonna sell it. It's gonna be like people are gonna want it. So
Yeah,
all these
yeah.
cards, like if you put it out for sale, it's just not gonna sell.
It's always going to be as well as like if you could get 499, but one of them could still be in a pack sitting that's fallen down a shelf at a Kmart somewhere in like the Midwest. You never
What
gonna
if someone
find it.
tore it?
Yeah, that or
Flip and rip.
someone brought their grandmother bought some kid some magic cards for his Christmas, and he's like, I don't play Pokemon. What am I doing with these magic cards? And he puts them in his cupboard. He doesn't care about it.
That's what everyone was scared of when they announced the one ring, right? It was like the one ring, and everyone was like, it's just going to end up in some warehouse that's never opened
That's
up.
why I'm convinced, man. Someone had to know where. There had to be one guy who knew. Because what if it never got found? What if it never got found?
I was one of the doubters. I was always one of those big doubters where I was like, like the one of one ring. There's too many like moving parts in the logistics that like someone's gonna just keep an eye on that one card, that watch which pack it goes into, and then someone's gonna pull it. Right? We're talking about
There's Wizards guys like down at because it wasn't found in Mexico, right?
No, it was found in Canada.
Oh, in Canada.
Canada.
There's guys at like a shop in Canada being like, hey, magic cards on sale right here.
It's like there's too many moving parts and there's too much. Like when it got announced, everyone knew that card was going to be like $1 million card, right?
Yeah.
That's so much moving parts. How do they keep it a secret that the card just like goes into public and then somehow it sounds like it worked, right? Because some like regular retail guy in Canada pulled it.
Do you think Post Malone's financial advisor was hoping they didn't find it?
Well, Post Malone was on the Joe Rogan podcast and he talked about buying the 101 card.
Oh, yes.
And Post Malone talks about how like when he bought it, like every single one of his advisors was like, bro.
It's like no,
Oh dear.
$1
funny.
million.
Yeah.
He pays the tax too for the other guy.
Shit.
Yeah, he paid everything.
You know what? Post Malone seems like an alright guy.
When they first started coming out that he was like playing Magic, and I think like this itself is like a whole topic where it's crazy how mainstream some of these hobbies have become. Like we talk about it all the time, and how just like where the hobbies are sitting out with like Henry Cavill playing Warhammer and Post Malone playing Magic. Like it really was one of those forefront situations where you have just huge celebrities getting involved in these hobbies, and like I think the stigma around what used to be very nerdy and uncool is really starting to change. And I think some of the old guard and the hyper nerds are like not keen on their thing that was special just to them and no one could get involved with it. They're not as keen anymore, but it's definitely opening up. And the amount of like regular dads who come down and just like casual guys. And I think overall it's been way better for the community, but it's crazy to see someone like Post Malone playing Magic cards with like the Commander podcast guy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So if we stick it out for another 10 years, we'll be really cool.
Yeah.
That's the plan, right?
Let's go.
I just keep telling people I'm cool and someone will eventually listen.
On top of us being
guess.
very cool, we're also going to an anime con, running a tournament there, just like cool people would,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
All the cool guys go to anime cons.
Hey,
I do like that we're going there to run a One Piece event that neither of us play either. So I thought maybe I should
I
brush
play
up on
One
some
Piece.
rules.
William plays One Piece.
One Piece is fun. It's
Yeah.
easy.
Well, is William going to come and help out?
When is it?
Saturday. Come down, mate. Promote Eternal Magic.
Probably. I'll see. Probably I'll
Well,
join
I
you.
have free tickets, so if you want one, let me know.
Yeah.
So
I'll see. Definitely. Pretty keen.
I think
Bring the
it's
kids?
exciting.
Are your kids into anime stuff?
Nope.
You make them do actual educational things?
Oh yeah.
Reminds me of my youth.
Yeah, I wish I'd done that with my child.
Well, Pokemon regionals for Perth is this weekend.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
There's so much going on this weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to be at Tokyo Alley running the One Piece tournament there. It's going to be exciting.
Win a box, baby.
Win a box. Yeah. And Northern Boards hasn't actually run anything for a convention before. It'll be our first outing. I'm
Oh,
excited
cool.
to see.
That'd be cool. Take some pictures though.
Yeah.
I went to the Good Games Run Commander event at the Perth Convention Hall.
Yeah. How was it?
Perth Town Hall it was good. It was good. They sold out both day tickets for both days.
Awesome.
Which is great. Like, I think it's really important, like, if people want these things to kind of happen here, like, you know, people complain there's a Command Fest in Australia, but it's the same reason you don't have massive festivals come to Australia, because people complain that nothing comes here and then nobody goes to the actual things they go to. So the
Yeah.
fact they sold out both days is fantastic. And like they had a artist, Leibowitz from
Yeah.
US.
I regretted not buying his payments
Man,
though.
I like his art a lot.
I picked up a few things here to use as like prices for like Highlander and stuff like that. So I've got some art print. I've got an art print and some play mats and stuff like that as well. He had some awesome stuff, and the fact that like the Good Games crew was able to get him out to Australia all the way from the US just for these events, that's amazing. Like there's no
Yeah.
other opportunity for us to get anything like that here. So the fact that I was able to achieve that was pretty awesome.
dang.
I would say
Bought some things.
that sounds awesome and cool. And that's why we should save it for the next episode. So if you want to hear about Commander Fest, you should tune into the next episode.
I have one more thing before we go. All right, that I have to talk about.
I'm being the party pooper here.
Well, we're gonna talk about it, right?
We'll talk about Commander Fest next episode.
After the podcast, I listen to each podcast like 3 or 4 times, right?
Yes.
After Kang uploads on Spotify, I gotta get those listens up. In the middle of the podcast, we were all yelling at each other in the last one, and William says something about a book, and you said you've never read a book.
Oh,
Did you mean that you've never read a book? Ever?
I mean, I don't read.
he's Kanye West.
What the fuck are you talking about?
You know, Kanye West also was like, I don't read books.
I mean,
When's the last time you read a book?
I tried.
What? All right, William. Hungry Caterpillar. Ring a bell?
I mean, short, like novels and stuff? No, not really.
What do you listen to, like audiobooks?
Try to.
Amazing.
Is it just not? Is it too slow? It's just not capturing the brain.
No, I watch a movie.
I do.
You know what William listens to?
You know what
Podcasts.
I do?
He listens to podcasts.
I watch synopsis. Like if I want to watch like a certain like anime or a certain series that's like 3 or 4 seasons long, I just watch a synopsis.
I'll do that with video games.
Yeah,
I know
I'll just
I won't
do
have
that.
time to play, so
I'll
do
just
that with video
watch the
games.
whole thing, forward it, like done. I know the story now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't read a book.
The first time I heard it, I was like, "How did I not hear this when we were talking?" And
I thought William was being like sarcastic. And he just moved
No,
on.
I don't read a book. I just don't read.
you're the smartest person out of the 3 of us by a country mile, William. What is going on?
I don't like to read a book.
Man, maybe we have it wrong.
I have been trying to follow like a new rule of like to produce media, not consume media.
Yeah.
Like I'm busy. I don't have fucking time to sit down and watch TV shows, and I only do it with certain people to like keep them happy as well. So it's like I really want to produce. I want to make stuff. I don't need to consume things. So I kind of get where you're coming from, but like the line just threw me right for a thing. Like when was the last time you read you finished a book?
I don't know.
Do you?
I don't know.
Do you buy books and then they go on a shelf?
No, I don't even buy
Don't
books.
even buy them.
Oh man, he must have saved so much money.
I don't
Maybe
even
it is
try.
the secret.
I don't even try to buy a book. Like if you know the only book that I bought from GW was all the comics. Because they're art and then like small words.
True.
That's the only thing I read. Like,
yeah.
small bubbles. I could consume that. That's the only thing I could read. Like,
So
if
we're also going to look to produce more content, right? Video content.
I want to be able to produce a book that William
Oh my
will
God.
read.
Ooh,
Like real.
okay.
I want it to be a novel.
William doesn't
but
even
a real
listen to-
short novel.
William doesn't even listen to the podcast.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
We need the listens, William.
I know,
Listen.
but I don't know. It's just hearing my own voice. It sounds weird though.
It is a little narcissistic, right?
I did say this to Kang the other week. I was listening to something like because I listen to podcasts a couple of times. Like for me, it's like I want to listen. I want to see what I can do better, see where I can articulate my words better, and like I want to do better. So you only do that by practice and revision. So I'll do listen. But I did laugh at something I said on the podcast, and I was like, oh, that's terrible.
I've been listening to the 3 of us' voices so much now. I'm starting to lose my mind a little bit.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I do like I'll go to say something to Kang, like when we're just in the shop, and I'll be like, "Oh God, I don't want to talk to him. I need to save this for the 1 hour that we talk to each other a week." And a few times I've gone to say certain things. I'm like, "Is this information that I need to tell him, or can I keep this?"
Well, we're bustling with content right now. We're in a good run. Like we can talk about Commander next time. We could talk about how William is Kanye West next time. Because you don't read books. But we should wrap it up. We've reached an hour now. So we've got any more plugs? We want more Patreon members, of course. 'cause
Yeah,
obviously
Patreon.
Oh, definitely.
The big plan
Sign
for
up.
us is to get a camera and we're going to produce video content. We
Yes.
really want to do some
Back
content.
openings. Let's go. Back openings.
William's so excited. I wish you guys could see this. And this is why we need a video
Open
content.
packs.
But William's jumping in the seat right now.
So I've been advertising the Patreon, right? We've got 4 guys.
Let's go, come on,
and one
man.
from the US. It's important to note if you're in Australia, it's $4.50 a month. That's not a lot of money. It's $4.50, but we appreciate it to anybody who gives us. But in
Thank
the US,
you.
it's $2 a month. It's just $2 a month. You can please give me your $2 a month. I swear.
Yeah. Sponsor a child and sponsor a podcast.
Sponsor a podcast. That's
Sponsor
right.
William to get reading lessons.
Oh my goodness. No.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. We'll catch you guys
See
in the next
ya.
one.
Oh,
Take
see
care.
you.